So this is my favorite time of the off season. There's nothing that beats a Sunday, right, in the actual season. But during the off season, this is the high water mark, right?
I can hear the giddiness in your voice, and to say like I like the action. It's like, are you going to Vegas? Because that's where it's happening, baby.
I wish. Right.
What do you think the odds are that Eagles fans in, let's see, 24 hours after we air this show, after we air this interview, what are the odds you think the Eagles fans are going to be very happy with what Howie Roseman did in this first round?
I suppose it's a matter of perspective. I do think they're going to be happy, though. I think the Eagles are in a good position at 15 and obviously having 18 and then pick flexibility later on to move up. A lot depends on what happens with the quarterbacks, right? If quarterbacks go early, so if quarterbacks go to, say, Carolina at 6 or Atlanta or Seattle, that's going to push players down the board. If quarterbacks don't go in the top 10 or in the top 8, then Howie needs to be aggressive and he needs to trade up, because I think that I don't know if there's 15 players there that you want, right? That you go to sleep Thursday night saying we had a good night. So if one of those players isn't falling, then Howie needs to be aggressive and trade up. And I think he knows that as well.
Now, all this is under the assumption that the draft board falls in the way that Eagles fans would want it to. And I think most Eagles fans want the Eagles to concentrate on the defensive side of the football. With that being said, do you think they will walk away with 2 defensive players if they do take 2 picks in the first round? Or do you think they'll split the difference and go one on each side of the ball?
I don't believe it's going to be deliberate, but I think it'll be a one on each side of the ball. I think they're going to come away with a wide receiver. If you just look at the strength of the draft in the teens, it's the wide receivers. Now, maybe there's an early run, or maybe the Eagles trade back from 18 and they're not drafting a wide receiver. But if you're saying staying at their spots, if I'm looking at who's the best player on the board at 18, it's most likely going to be a wide receiver. And you can probably make that argument for 15 as well.
Now, maybe I'm just scarred, but there's something about Howie Roseman drafting a wide receiver in the first round that doesn't make me feel too good. And there's a big part of me, and I said this on yesterday's show, that makes me think, let's quit while we're ahead with Devontae Smith, and we'll go wide receiver later. But you're telling me the way it might shake out here is that it might match up between wide receiver and best player available.
Yes, I think that's where you're going to see value, right? The receivers in this year's class, it's not like last year where they're top 5 guys, right? But it's very much in that, let's say, 7 to 20 range where you could see 4 or 5 receivers go off the board. And so the Eagles would be right in the thick of it. I'm not in the camp of saying that just because the Eagles spent first-round picks the past 2 years and a second-round pick in 2019 that they can't spend one there. I believe in resource allocation, of course, but you can't let past mistakes compound into future mistakes, right? You need to make the best decision at the time, and it very well might be a wide receiver. Now, the variable is this. I don't think the Eagles are going to trade up for a wide receiver. If the Eagles trade up from 15, I think it's going to be for a defensive player, whether you're talking about Stingley, whether you're talking about Kyle Hamilton, whether you're talking about Kayvon Thibodeau, someone who, I would say one of those players. And if they trade up from 15, it wouldn't surprise me if they traded back from 18 to try to recuperate some of the value they gave to move up.